guys, I have my Pikachu mug with a matcha in it, and I'm ready to finally do some makeup content. I know, it's kind of crazy. I took my glasses off, so just ignore that. But I'm gonna just try out some new makeup I got. Some of this I've already used like once. Some of it I haven't. Some of this is PR, some of it isn't. I'll try and vocalize that. If not, I'll pop it up on a screen somewhere just to say what is and isn't PR. And let's just kind of try some makeup on. I don't know, that's just kind of what I'm feeling like doing today. I had something else planned for today, but I kind of wanted to take a break and just give myself a little bit more time. So I think just in between videos here and there, I can just show you guys what new makeup I'm buying and like what I think about it. Subscribe to the bell icon for engagement. Let's get into it. I have some Charlotte Tilbury stuff. I bought all of this myself. We have the Beautyverse palette, which is a beautifying filter for your eyes, and I tried this yesterday just vaguely. I only used like 2 shades. I think I used this one, the matte one, and then this one here. But it's quite a stunning palette, really. I don't know how to say it. These mattes are super interesting. They're almost not a powder. They kind of are reminiscent of like the Natasha Denona cream to powder, but like a little bit easier to use, I think. Like, yeah, they feel wet when you touch them. There's like no powderiness. Hello? Yeah, this is what it looks like. I hope you guys can see there's like no powderiness whatsoever. It's literally just like a beautiful satiny finish type of, I don't know, she's never done these mattes before, so I think they're like super interesting. That's for sure. See the brown one, like there's no kickback at all, and when you, even if you swell your finger quite a lot, you don't get like that like bumps of kind of loose eyeshadow. It just kind of seamlessly. And there's the darkest one. I mean, that looks so good. Like, I can't even explain this formula to you guys without touching it, like without you guys touching it. I feel like if you want to try it out, you have to like go try it out. I can't even like explain why this formula is as good as it is. There's the pink, but this is something kind of revolutionary. I would actually get this palette for the mattes. I think the mattes are so good, and they're just such good like classic shades. I think that you need like one pink, just some browns. Like, I think this is so good. These are like so good. And then we have some of the shimmery shades. This one I haven't touched yet, but it feels literally wet. What is going on? These are so good. This one I kind of rubbed around a little bit. It's a silver metallic. It's got like a lot of base to it. The one I used yesterday was this one, and it was more of a topper shade. Yeah, this one feels a lot more slick and less opaque, as you can see. Like, that's a lot less, like I already swatched this and that's still how much is left on my finger. This one is like definitely a little bit more, yeah, you can't even, it's just like a shimmer. At first I was like, do I like this? I don't know. Like, when I saw it just being announced, I was like, do I like this or do I not like this? But actually I think it's super versatile. And when you go on the website, they show you quite a few looks that Charlotte has put together, I guess. If you mix and match, you get a pink look, if you just use these two, or pink and purple look, or you can do like a mermaid look with all 4. And then you're thinking like this one and one of these, it creates a super cool toned look, or this one and just the middle silver one creates a super cool toned like smoky look. But then you have some browns, and if you take the browns with some of the like copper brown, suddenly you just have like a daily, like there's so many looks to be had here. And then sometimes you can just use one of the shimmers all over your eyes, sometimes you can just do a matte look if you want. I actually think this palette's a lot more versatile than it seems at first, and that's kind of what sold me. This is the first time I'm swatching some of these. This is the purple. That looks stunning. This one is a duochrome actually. It shifts to like a greeny, yellowy, yeah, it's beautiful. And then here's the last shade. It's the most boring shade, I guess, but it's like for everyday. I think that looks good. I recently got the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette, which has quickly become one of my favorite nude palettes. This is what it looks like. I think it's like the perfect combination of cool, not too warm, but like not, it's not the glam palette, but it's definitely not the bronze palette. It's just, and it's not the Bieber palette. It's got a lot more shimmers than the Bieber palette, and the textures are super different. There's some of these wet ones. There's this one, which is a super interesting shade. I know it looks boring on camera, but it's a grey with some pink shimmers going through it. And then the middle one is like a chunky, super chunky shade. And there's some really good mattes, a little bit of a pinky type shade. And weirdly, I don't know if this is just me, Colourpop sent me their 11/11 collection, which just literally came out, and it's stunning. I know people are like, how many more nudes can we have? as many as it takes to find the perfect ones. And I opened it when it first came. Correct me if I'm wrong. This gives off the same vibe, right? The Protection shade, which is like a pinky nude, definitely reminds me of this shade, right? And then like we're seeing some of the more cool tones, so I just wanted to see like how close are we talking here. Obviously the formula is going to be different. Like, I'm not saying that you're going to get the same quality as with a Natasha Denona, but you're definitely getting a look which is similar, I think. Like, let me just put these like that. I hope I don't drop any of it. There we go. That looks kind of similar to me. You're getting less shades with the Colourpop, but it's definitely a lower price tag as well. And the Colourpop formula has always been kind of something that I really enjoyed personally. I'm just doing this so that if you feel like you're not into Natasha Denona, you don't want to spend that price tag, I feel like Colourpop, I mean, they're not paying me to say this. They literally just sent this to me in PR. They were like, do what you want with this. But this pink and this pink down here, same vibe. I'd say Good Thoughts and Fair, very similar. I'd say Good Thoughts is a little bit deeper, but that's fine. Lucky Babe is pretty much a direct dupe for Stone, which is this one here, right? And then I'd say Empowered is a dupe for Silhouette. It's a little bit less deep, but then you do have Divine, which kind of, you can amp it up a little bit. I feel like you get more extra shades here. Like, I feel like Vogue is something similar to like Protection or like Right Path, but it's just a little bit in between. And then I feel like Lucky Babe, because I said it kind of looked like mesh or stone, but it kind of looks like mesh. Yeah, I said it looked like stone, but it kind of looks like mesh as well. So maybe it is that if you find this palette a little bit too redundant, like there's too many shades for you, this kind of dials it down a little bit. Obviously you're not getting the special formulas, but you're still getting kind of close. Like, I feel like Major Change is similar to Delilah, just without the extra like pink and green sparkles. It's just a silver. Balanced, I feel like, is going to take the place of like these two. You get this like extra silver shade, which we don't have here, and then you get like a gold and a bronze, which I guess is kind of like a Muse sheen thing. You don't get these kind of extra shades on it, but I feel like these are kind of similar. I also got the Kylie Cosmetics matte palette she recently came out with. This reminds me of Viseart in the sense that it just came with a bunch of basic mattes. There's all the way from like a black, well, a very, very dark brown, to some warmer shades, some cooler shades, some kind of transition shades, a base, and kind of like a crease shade. I think this is like perfect for just a matte look. I also have the Hollywood Blush and Glow Glide palette that came out with the holiday collection. This one actually came broken for me. The highlight popped out, so I just popped it back in. This is the lighter version they had. They obviously had a deeper version. It's just stunning. I love this. I've already swatched it. I think the blush literally feels like a cream to me. These are so stunning. I feel like the highlight might be a little bit deep for me. I don't know. It's casting a bit of a shadow. But I actually bought the Kylie Cosmetics eyeshadow palette because I got her concealer that she's been hyping up for a while. I have 1N and 2N for spot concealing and under the eyes, like a brightening. And I did get the brush that she was hyping up. It's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be for some reason. It's a triangle shape. It's synthetic. Feels really soft. I feel like it will fit right in those like crevices, and I've been looking for a good concealer brush, so I'll definitely give this a try. Urban Decay sent me some PR. We have the Hydromaniac Blush Glow Hydrator. I've actually tried the shade Wrecked already, and I love it. It gives a very dewy, balmy look, and you get so much product in this. This is 15 ml of just pure blush. Okay, so let's just see how this concealer works. She claims this is long wear, anti-crease, plush vibe. I'll use 1N under my eyes. I'm not going to use a primer or anything. I've just done my skincare like an hour or so ago. The doe foot is really cute. It's like the perfect size and shape. Let me just put this down, kind of the middle zones. I don't know how quickly you have to blend it out. That actually blends out very quickly with the brush. Sometimes I'm against brushes because they just don't, sometimes they end up just like taking way too long and they end up looking streaky, and I just feel like it doesn't do what I need it to do quickly. But this actually is blending out very fast, and I feel like the concealer is quite blurring. She had a super liked before you know, Coty took over, she had a concealer that everyone loved, I remember, and it had like a pretty wide shade range, and that was definitely like a star product. It was kind of like underrated, and people were like, oh, if you're getting anything, get the concealer. So I feel like she's definitely kind of needed to beat that, or at least match it, and I feel like she did. So I remember trying that other concealer and I thought it was really good. So this looks really good. I feel like you could really use this as foundation, or like instead of foundation, just as kind of everywhere, not just under the eyes. And I know some concealers obviously can look a little bit cakey all over, but this is looking really good, and this brush is actually really soft, really nice. I want to see how it performs under the eyes. I might have overachieved here. It's way too much. Oh no, I've definitely overdone it here. Let me also blend up to the top, just a dry sponge, and just see if I can kind of take some of this down. I find the thing with brushes that you're never used to, I look absolutely wild, is how far it makes the concealer or the product stretch. I'm gonna use the other shade as just like an in-between, so you guys can see the difference in skin tone there. She's got warm, cool and neutral variations of the different shades, and I think she came out with 40 different shades. There's a bit for everyone to enjoy. Oh, this brush is way too small for like all over, which obviously makes sense, look how tiny it is, but I just wanted to use it. Honestly, I love this brush. I felt like maybe, oh, it's gonna be redundant, like it's just kind of like, she felt like slapping something into the collection, but no, I actually think this brush is really good, and I get why she made it that small for just like the under eyes, but I want to use the concealer all over, so I'm just going to use the It Cosmetics like heart. They release this every holiday collection. It's the same brush, just usually in a different shade. It might be a shape. It might be a star, or it might be a heart, but it's always the Kabuki, the foundation like Kabuki. It's probably their most famous brush. I actually really love the way this looks. Real good. I actually recently did a full order of Merit Cosmetics as well, and I'm obsessed. If I'm just doing makeup for like, if you're watching my videos on my drama channel, I'm mainly just using Merit for my whole face. And this bronzer, I use literally everything from the like foundation stick to the bronzer to the highlight stick to the blush. With the Merit bronzer, I just use it on the same Kabuki brush. This is in the shade Quince, if you're wondering. It's I think the lightest shade they had, and it just works so well. It was a friend that recommended Merit to me, and I ordered literally everything. She was like, oh, the blushes are amazing. I'm like, you said blush? I'm gonna try everything. So I've literally tried everything. I love everything. Well, not everything. They have like a brush as well. I didn't buy it, and I didn't buy the mascara or the eyebrow stuff or the lipstick. I got everything else though. I'm gonna use the Hydromaniac in Wrecked again because it's quite a pale shade. It's just like the perfect like pink. I'm just gonna use that on just like a stipple brush. So I'm just literally gonna just put it on the stipple brush and stipple it on. I know that looks crazy, but it's gonna blend out. Put your trust in me. It's just the most like dewy looking. I get why it's called a Hydromaniac. It's super hydrating. It feels like it just plumps up your skin. It actually looks very similar to that Tarte Maracuja bouncy weird putty blush, and I feel like the shades are comparable as well. It's like rosy, I don't know, it just adds bounce to your skin. I'm gonna use the Merit stick in Carver. It's just so good. It plumps up your skin as well. I love products that just make it look like your skin's automatically just got some life to it. Set under the eyes with my Charlotte Tilbury. I just want to see what this concealer looks like if I set it a little bit. Just setting all around, just in the T-zone. Okay, so up close and personal, the concealer looks a little bit funky in some areas. Now, I don't know if that's me, but I didn't use a primer on purpose. Like, there are just some areas where it... Let me just zoom you guys in. There are just some areas where it looks a little bit heavy. I don't know if you guys can see that. Just kind of up here, it looks a little bit heavy. And just like... down here it just looks a little bit heavy, but I'll just zoom out and just continue on my journey here. I don't know. I think it looks fine. Next time I'm going to use maybe a little bit of a hydrating primer, maybe use a wet damp sponge, even though they do obviously send you the, not send you, they offer to purchase this brush. I don't know if it's the best way to apply this concealer. It's a little bit dry and heavy, and I obviously did set it, but they didn't say you can't. I don't know, I'm just not obsessed right now. Looking up close, from far away I was like, oh yeah, this looks fine. Up close though, it just looks a little bit funky. I'm gonna use the Pat McGrath Labs bronzer. I've tried these before on camera, I'm pretty sure, and I just love the shade Nude Honey, just if you need a little sprucing up and you're quite fair. And for the holiday collection, she's releasing some face palettes that are finally going to include the bronzers. It's not just going to be blush and highlight or just blushes, it's going to have the bronzers in it as well, and Nude Honey's in the fair one, so snag this up if you're like my skin tone or a little bit deeper. I think this shade is like perfect. And I'm finally going to try the blush duo. I pressed it back together. Let me use my favorite. These are like the Sigma large angled contour brushes, but I love the angled ones for applying blush. So I'm just going to go into that pink. Oh, that is really powdery. I should not probably tap it like this or my highlight's going to fall apart, because I actually didn't stick it back together with alcohol. I just pressed it back in. That is super bright. It's actually very pigmented, so I feel like you could really get away with this if you're like a little bit deeper than my skin tone, which I mean isn't very difficult to do. So if you're like a medium, I feel like you could make this work just because of how pigmented it is. I feel like my skin is just not looking as scrumptious as I like it to look. I feel like I like a glazed look, and I do my skincare like it's just sticking, it's dry. I can feel just like how dry my skin is. I'm just using the Pat McGrath blurring powder just to tone things down, and I know that adding powder when I'm already saying like things are feeling a bit dry isn't helping, but it will just help me blend things in better. And it probably looks fine on camera, but just the feeling of it isn't great, and I do feel like things are just not blending on top the way I would want them to, because my skin feels just so dry. I'm just going to use the same brush for the highlight. I'm just going to gently dip because it was broken. Yeah, it needs a very light hand on me personally, because it's a little bit too deep. Just on top of the blush as just like a topper, I think it looks good, and just with a light hand. I'm not like super obsessed with how my skin looks right now. I don't know, there's just something about it all that just doesn't mesh well. Charlotte Tilbury setting spray just to kind of set everything down. And if we're already going for a long lasting kind of drying almost effect with the Kylie Cosmetics, I feel like I really need to use that, not on its own but with a foundation, maybe with like the Mario foundation, just to balance it out a little bit. I feel like on its own it just created such a dry environment. Maybe if I let some oils come through, it will look a little bit better today, but right now it's just not really giving me what I wanted it to give. Let me just take a big fluffy brush, and I'm gonna go into today I'm gonna go into the pink first and just pile that on. It's very not powdery, which is helpful, definitely useful. I feel like if you're not a confident eyeshadower, this might just be the resolution, because it doesn't feel like it fluffs anywhere, it just kind of goes where you place it. I also ordered the Rhode lip balms, but with the tint. I was driving in the car and I said, I need her to come out with these lip balms with a tint, and then my life will be complete. And then she literally announced it like a few weeks later. Because I'm already in love with the whole skincare line, mainly the lips. I think they're so good. So if I can just get a tinted version of it, I will literally never need to wear any other lip product. Just a lip liner and that on top, and I think you're like set. Mainly with my lips being quite dry, I think it works really well. Anyway, that's the pink. I'm really feeling like adding a bit of depth with just that like lightest brown. And just pat that in. I'm just going for kind of a messy look here. I don't know. I'm just slapping some shades on. I like to just take the same brush and just into that brown. Now that I added some setting spray, the skin is starting to look a little bit better. But yeah, it just wasn't giving what I wanted it to give for a while. That's my first impression. I feel like the concealer has potential though. I feel like I know the formula, and like I know that now that I've tried it, like I know the formula and I know that I shouldn't put it just like all willy-nilly. But that was just my first like, oh, let me just put it everywhere. And that's not how we need it to go. So then I'm going to use... Okay, I'm going to use these two shades. This one is more of like a scattered look, and this one's like an all over shade. So I'm going to use this one kind of all over, and this one maybe kind of like in the inner corner. I don't know. Yeah, let me just take that solid shade. Oh, that looks pretty. It comes out kind of hot pink on the eyes, but like hot pink, but still kind of toned down, and like, I don't know how to explain it. Let me just zoom you guys in. And there really isn't much fallout. I didn't get much yesterday either, so for quite glittery eyeshadows, these are very easy to use without kind of like a glitter glue or anything. Then I'm going to use this shade, like I said. Now you can see the palette properly. That is real beautiful, huh? And you can see kind of, they're quite wet feeling eyeshadows from where I put the brush in or where I swatched. You can see kind of the difference in texture. Anyway, I'm gonna go into this one right here, which is just a little bit more toppery. Oh, these are so good. Oh wow. I didn't expect it to be like this. That is amazing. That like overpowered the shade before. That looks so good. That looks so pretty. I'm just gonna take a small brush into this shade right here and just put that on like the inner corner, just kind of scattered. It's really not falling out much, even for using such a kind of loose brush. It's really not scattering as much as you would think. I'm like running away from the camera a lot of the time. I'm gonna use the Refy Clear Brow Gel. What is it called? Brow Sculpt. To sculpt my brows. I'm not really gonna do much to them, but just sculpt them a little bit. There we go. It's starting to dry up, so it's starting to look a little bit clumpy, but this brow sculpt is so good for just getting that perfectly fluffy kind of, but still organized brow. I was sent this travel size just as a free with like purchase. Is the Benefit They're Real Magnet Mascara. Obviously Benefit's not cruelty free, but if you send something to me for free, I will use it. I just won't repurchase it. And sadly, this mascara is really good. So I'm just kind of looking for like a dupe that is cruelty free, because as you can see, this is a real good mascara. There's always one problem eye. My left one right now is my problem eye, but I feel like those look really, really good. I'm gonna do layer number 2, just gently. I didn't realize this mascara was gonna be so nice. I just hate that they're not cruelty free. Those are the eyes. I just think this is such a cute look. This looks so pretty. Okay. Oh. Zoom you guys out. I mean, this is starting to come together now. We had a few mishaps. That's fine. I think overall, I mean, my face looks good. My skin looks good right now. I think it just needed some time to settle. And now I know how to work with the concealer. Maybe I'll try it for the next like week or so. I'll give some updates. Just Pillow Talk. This is medium. Just blend that in for a more natural look. I'm gonna take Glossier, the red one. This is just my favorite lip gloss of all time. Nothing beats it. I hate the packaging though. It never unscrews itself easily. It's so gloopy, but in the best way. It just adds so much color to the lips. How good does that look? Right now my favorite lip looks are either lip liner in this or lip liner in the Rhode Lip Treatments. It gives a similar look. Okay, so up close and personal, I mean everything looks quite blended and good right now. And that's really it. This is everything that I've bought recently. And yeah, let me know what you guys have. Let me know what you think. Let me know how to try things, new things to try. Anything you want to let me know in the comment section, please do. And then yeah, subscribe with the bell, like, comment for engagement, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.